What's up, guys? Well, back to review it, and the premiere for Miss Marvel as officially released on the Disney Plus, and it was what is the first episode of Miss Marvel? I really love I really love the show so far. With Kamala Khan, she's like amazing in the show as well, especially with her friend Bruno. And also, with the entirety of the show is really much entertaining. Of course, there's a whole bunch of Easter eggs and like stuff related to Marvel and the Avengers as well, and plus in this cool episode, it was really entertaining. There were like tons of Easter eggs and stuff, which plus there's a post credit scene as well. So in this video, this will be my full breakdown of Miss Marvel episode 1. Go over everything that they may have missed, Easter eggs, and much more. And we're also going over that post credit scene that could definitely set up future episodes in this series as well. But if you haven't seen Miss Marvel episode 1, this is your spoiler warning. So get out of this video now and come back to this video after you've seen the first episode. But if you're new here and you don't like this, be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on videos like this in the future. So let's get into it. And so, how this first episode starts is with the Marvel Studios intro, and we hear Blind Lights, but by the weekend, we hear the music to that song, and like one Easter egg that we notice in this Marvel Studios intro is a scene from Multiverse of Madness when Doctor Strange was rescuing Michael Chavez from Gargantos. So a scene from Multiverse of Madness made it into the Marvel Studios intro, but because Miss Marvel was like right after Multiverse of Madness. And then we hear Kamala Khan recording a podcast for her own YouTube channel called Soft Baby Productions. It's about the events of the Earth's mighty heroes, of course referring to the Avengers, Thanos being a jerk about stones. Plus, I think that was from fun events of Infinity War as well. Plus, with Thanos involved and her to talk about Captain Marvel, because with Captain Marvel, she's her idol. And then we see Kamala Khan getting ready for her driver's test, but by like seeing a load of family member before she takes her driver's test. And then we see her taking her driver's test as well, and like we see her with the sunglasses of being all cool, and then like when she like finally hits the gas pedal, but it was actually in reverse and like crashes into a driver and instructor's car. And next we see Kamala Khan at school, and then like as we see that like she's trying to fit into the popular crowd with all the other kids at school. She tries to pay attention to her. It's because with Kamala, she's trying to like fit in with the other kids at school. And then we see her meet up with the friend Bruno to talk about Avenger Con. And with Kamala, she like talks about herself in her Captain Marvel cosplay. And then like next she like winds up in the office of Mr. Wilson, and they end up to talk about like Kamala's future. And then we see the school animations as she's trying to like dream in her own fantasy. And then we recently aligned me divide up, especially with Kamala's future. And then we see Kamala and Bruno meet up, and we see the Captain Marvel cosplay that Kamala's going to be wearing at Avenger Con. And then as we can see that to talk about the finishing touches, about like other ideas as well. And then we hear some other ideas that Kamala and Bruno talk about as steampunk. And then Bruno says with a mashup of Captain Panther or Iron Marvel and like a Doctor Strange Marvel as well. And then we see her some like animations of what like she is like what Kamala is thinking in her head, while these cool animations with like Captain Panther and with like Captain Marvel as Iron Man. And then we see Doctor Strange in there as well. And then with Kamala, she mentions like Valkyrie, and also mentions as Guardian. And then we see Kamala on the couch now finally home, and then what she thinks is like a box from a nanny, and then like what we see is a nega bands. And now what is the nega bands in the comics that were powerful relics of the Great Empire and transforming the mental energy into physical energy. And with these nega bands, it like has the ability to give the wearer of whoever is wearing it to have powers, to have cosmic energy. And then we see Bruno with Kamala's dad, with Bruno showing off his invention called like a Zuzu, which he's like controlling Zuzu to do anything he wants, like turning on off and on the lights. And then with Kamala, she like asks her parents about VentureCon, and that she's gonna go as Captain Marvel, but with her parents like they refuse to let her go, like telling her that she can't go, especially in the Captain Marvel cosplay. And then we see Kamala's brother like step in, and then next week we see him in Kamala's room and with Kamala's brother saying that I don't talk to to her parents and to let her go because she wants to go to a VentureCon. And then we see Kamala texting Bruno, and then that like with her parents, and they cannot allow her to go to a VentureCon. And with like this animation, when it text, it looks like kind of cool to see this kind of like animation in the show. And then we see Kamala's like Captain Marvel cosplay for a VentureCon, and then like she's in her room, and then with Kamala's mother, she like comes in and tells Kamala that she can go to a VentureCon, but in like a different outfit, but in like a Hulk cosplay, which is a costume which they are representing like in their culture as well. But with Kamala, she refuses to wear the outfit because she wants to go in her Captain Marvel cosplay. But with Kamala's mother, like she said, like that's not like who she is, like wearing like a Captain Marvel cosplay as she was wearing. And then we see Kamala and Bruno on the roof, like talking about like saving the world. But then when Bruno says if she wants to save the world, she wants to save the world. And then we see Bruno giving Kamala photon gloves, and she said it feels like a cosplay, which is really cool to see. And then we hear Kamala about her game plan of how she's gonna sneak out of the house, go to a VentureCon, and then like sneak back into the house without getting caught by her parents and getting and the parents seeing her parents are all happy. And also we see these like cool animations as she's hashing out her game plan. We see Kamala in her Captain Marvel cosplay. We see Bruno in his cosplay as Tony Stark, and we see Kamala and Bruno having fun at a VentureCon and taking selfies and stuff like that. And then we see Kamala and her Captain Marvel cosplay in her tiara and like having fun as well. And then as Kamala and Bruno are arriving at a VentureCon, and there are so many Easter eggs at a VentureCon, so let's go over it. First, when Kamala and Bruno arrive at a VentureCon, we can see in Camp Lehigh, home of Captain America, which is an Easter egg and now from Avengers Endgame and Captain America the Winter Soldier. But then when Kamala and Bruno are at a VentureCon, we can see the Avengers logo, and then we can hear the song Stars Swing on Man, which is like a song from the first Captain America film. And then as we can see that like a ton of Easter eggs was like a Hulk a cosplay and Kamala playing a Hulk related game, and then we see someone in cosplay like Doctor Strange playing guitar. As we can see, as Kamala and Bruno are fighting in like a cosplay, which is as Guardian, and with like Kamala and taking selfies with Bruno and the other as Guardian cosplays as well. And then as we can see, as like Captain America's butt with saying "You're welcome, America," which is a reference from Avengers Endgame from when like Captain America said that is America's ass. And then as we can see like Kamala and Bruno looking at like a tribute to Black Widow and Iron Man. It says thank you for your sacrifice, which Marvel decided to pay tribute to Black Widow and Iron Man. And then we can see some Ant-Man helmets, just like Ant-Man, and then we can see some other Captain America cosplayers as well. And now, as we can see, as Kamala is about to get up on stage while the other Captain Marvel cosplayers, and as we see, as like Kamala is putting on the nega bands, and as we all the energy that is surrounding her, and then she's like flipping upside down, and then she's like getting out on stage, and then with the other photographers and all the people taking pictures of her, and then we see the nega bands getting activated, giving Kamala her powers now as Miss Marvel, and then with the powers that she accidentally makes the anime helmet come off and destroy a Vetricon, and then it ends up with Zoe being taken out, but being swung by Thor's hammer Mjolnir, and then she falls. And plus with the damage that Kamala has done. And now with the final scene is we see as Kamala is now sneaking back into her room with her mother there, and then with her mother she tells Kamala to stop fantasizing about and it's had a cosplay in the cosplay person, and now her mother does want Kamala to be this way, but she feels with Kamala she feels rebelling about betraying her parents and sneaking out and going to a Vetricon, knowing that she would get caught, and when the episode ends with her sitting on her bed, and then as we can see with the negative bands and looking at her hand, and now that she has powers now as Miss Marvel. And now with the first episode of Miss Marvel, there was a post-credit scene in which it involves Agent Cleary from Department of Damage Control when he was interrogating Peter and his friends from Spider-Man No Way Home, looking at the footage from Kamala Khan at VentureCon, and now with Agent Cleary now seeing Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, now using her powers, and now with Agent Cleary that he says that he wants to bring her in, probably to investigate and interrogate her about her powers as well. I think this is going to be the same way as Agent Cleary did when he interrogated Peter from No Way Home. And yeah, with the first episode of Miss Marvel and the whole series as a whole, I'm really loving the series so far, especially with Kamala Khan. I mean, she's she's amazing in the show as well, and I can't wait to see what's the story for future episodes. I can't wait to see how Kamala's powers work as Miss Marvel as well. I think with Miss Marvel, I think that the show is off to a good start, and I can't wait to see where the show goes from here in the future episodes as well. So that's me for this video. Let thoughts comments down below, and what your thoughts on the first episode of Miss Marvel. Give me a rating between 1 out of 10. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe and turn on notification bell for future videos, and you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter for live updates. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.